They promised to stay away, but Bai Lu and Dylan were caught in the same hotel last night. It was supposed to be over. They had promised, publicly and privately, that they would keep their distance. That no matter what history they shared, no matter what words were left unsaid or stories left unfinished, they would not allow themselves to cross paths again. It was supposed to be final, but last night shattered everything. Around 2:37 a.m., a leaked hotel corridor video began spreading across the internet. The footage, grainy but unmistakably clear, showed Bai Lu stepping out of a black SUV in front of the Crescent Hotel, one of the most exclusive and discreet properties in the city. She wore a dark hoodie, her face barely visible under the shadows of the building's front arch. But it was her. Fans knew. The way she walked, the way she adjusted her sleeve as she entered, it was undeniably Bai Lu. 15 minutes later, a second figure appeared on camera. This time it was Dylan Wang. He wore a cap low over his forehead, hands in his pockets, and he didn't use the main entrance. Instead, he slipped in through the side hallway, the one usually reserved for staff and VIPs who request anonymity. But the camera caught him. One quick turn of the security lens, one flicker of light, and there he was. The internet exploded. The promise had been broken. Less than 2 months ago, Bai Lu and Dylan made it clear in separate interviews that they were moving on, that their history was too complicated, too heavy, too full of noise and silence to revisit. They had deleted old posts, unfollowed each other, and were never seen in the same room since the rumored fallout on set earlier this year. Their fans were divided. Some cheered the clean break. Others mourned what was never made official, but always felt real. And now this. Inside the hotel, no one knows exactly what happened. But according to an anonymous staff member who spoke to a local tabloid this morning, Bai Lu was checked into room 804, a luxury suite with a private terrace overlooking the city skyline. Just 2 doors down, Dylan was registered under a different name in room 808. Security logs showed their key cards were used several times that night, on both doors. By 4 a.m., no one had left. People began speculating immediately. Was it a secret reconciliation? An accident? A meeting planned in private that backfired due to leaked hotel security? Or was it something deeper, something they didn't want the world to understand? But what shook fans the most wasn't the footage itself. It was what happened afterward. At 9 a.m. this morning, Bai Lu posted a simple photo on her private fan account. A blurry skyline from what looked like a hotel window. No caption. No tags. Just the image. And then minutes later, Dylan shared a quote on his story. Some things are worth breaking the silence for. The fanbase lost control. Screenshots flooded X and Weibo. TikToks replayed the moment Bai Lu's silhouette entered the hotel frame. Some fans cried. Others screamed betrayal. And some just watched the video on loop, heart racing, trying to figure out if what they were seeing was real. But one thing was certain, they were not supposed to be there. Not together. Not last night. Not ever again. And yet, against every promise, every denial, and every warning, they were. Now, everyone is asking the same question. Was it closure? Or was it a new beginning? Only Bai Lu and Dylan know what really happened inside those hotel walls. And as the world watches and waits, the silence around them grows louder than ever. The footage had already spread like wildfire across fan pages and gossip sites, but it was not until the morning after that the true shock began. One grainy clip showed Dylan Wang entering the hotel lobby through the back entrance wearing a low cap and a long coat, looking over his shoulder with every step. An hour later, a different angle showed Bai Lu stepping out of a black vehicle, clutching her purse tightly, eyes fixed straight ahead. She entered through the side door, guarded by 2 unfamiliar faces. At first, fans hoped it was coincidence, that perhaps they were there for different reasons. But what surfaced next shattered that hope into silence. A leaked chat between a hotel employee and an unknown source revealed that both were checked into rooms on the same floor. Not only that, but one of the employees claimed to have seen Dylan standing outside room 1406, Bai Lu's room, just minutes before midnight. The hallway was dimly lit, security cameras were oddly turned off for a brief window, and no one saw either of them leave until early the next morning. Inside sources from the production team said Bai Lu had been filming an intense emotional scene just days before and had left abruptly, refusing to speak to anyone. Dylan had also reportedly been off the radar for nearly a week. Neither of them had posted on social media. No official statements were made. Only silence, which made the leak all the more explosive. Back at the studio, word spread quickly. Some of the crew whispered that they had seen it coming, that the energy between Bai Lu and Dylan had always been complicated, too much heat, too much silence, and too many late-night rehearsals that turned into something else. But nothing prepared anyone for what happened next. A fan who had been staying on the same floor posted a short audio clip. In it, muffled voices could be heard behind one of the hotel doors. A woman's voice, unmistakably Bai Lu's, was saying, "This was not supposed to happen again, Dylan. You promised." The silence that followed was interrupted only by the sound of something soft hitting the ground. A pause. Then Dylan's voice, raw and quiet, said, "I never stopped caring. That was my mistake." The fan who shared the clip deleted their post hours later, but by then it had been downloaded and reposted hundreds of times. Hashtags were trending. Fans were divided. Some cheered for reconciliation. Others called it betrayal. What made everything worse was Shen Yue's cryptic post that night, just one sentence in white text against a black background. It read, "So much for promises." That post, too, was deleted. But the internet never forgets. The next morning, Bai Lu showed up to set wearing sunglasses and no makeup. She kept herself. During breaks, she sat alone, scrolling through her phone, occasionally wiping her face with her sleeve. Dylan arrived hours later, visibly tired, barely speaking a word. The director noticed. The entire atmosphere shifted. An extra who was close to the dressing room said they overheard a confrontation, a heated conversation between Bai Lu and someone on the phone. She said, "I told him this would destroy everything. Why didn't he listen?" Meanwhile, the production had to delay shooting due to rising media interference. Reporters had started appearing at the studio gates, trying to confirm the story. Neither Bai Lu's team nor Dylan's issued any statements. But silence only made the noise louder. Fan forums exploded with theories. Some believed this was a publicity stunt to revive their on-screen pairing. Others insisted it was real, that the chemistry fans had seen for years was never acting. It was truth wrapped in fiction. One post that gained massive attention came from a fan who compiled moments from past interviews, clips where Dylan glanced at Bai Lu when he thought no one was watching, or Bai Lu smiled in that way she only did when Dylan was near. Fans began calling it the silent thread, the invisible connection that had always been there. But the question remained. If they truly cared for each other, why did they part ways in the first place? And why the secrecy now? The truth may never fully come out, but what is certain is this: something happened in that hotel. Something real. Something unscripted. And whatever it was, it has shaken the entire Cdrama world. The internet still buzzes with speculations, but for now, all eyes remain on Bai Lu and Dylan. Two stars caught between the past they could not erase and a future no one saw coming. And as the dust settles, one truth remains: promises were broken. But maybe, just maybe, some things are too powerful to stay buried forever.